What's up, Pit Masters? We're doing it live again here on the Pit Masters podcast. I got Derek here joining me tonight. How's it going, Derek?
It's going good, going good. How you doing?
Not too bad. So we have Bill Gillespie from Smokin Hoggz BBQ here tonight to walk us through some of his rubs. But before we get into that, is there anything going on out there in your neck of the woods that we might want to let the people know? Competitions, events, anything like that?
I think it's all done. I swear. If you ask Christy, it's all done. So we just had Temecula 2 weeks ago. That was a KCBS Master Series event, first year contests. And then just this past weekend, we had Burnt Offerings, which is the longest running KCBS, or not KCBS, but longest running barbecue contest in California. And it just hit 20 years. So this was the first year they became a full Master Series KCBS contest. Before it was all backyard for the last 19 years. So it was a good turnout this year. But right now, there's talks of other contests, but in the books, there's no other contests really in California or on the West Coast for the rest of the year.
Yeah, there is one. I'm not sure if it's full, but there is one out here in Utah for the Days of 47. I should actually look at it before we jumped on to see if it's actually full or not. If it's not, jump on and do it now because it will be full. They're only taking 18 teams. And then also you can go to the Pitmasters podcast website and you can see the events there. I have mostly just SCAs, no KCBSs on there. So if you are hosting a KCBS or anything like that, let me know so we can get that on the website and let people know about it. But other than that, man, let's just get right into it. Let's go talk to Bill about his products, and then we'll bring in the panel and we'll go through the tasting process.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So we for this week, or for this month, I should say, we have Bill Gillespie with Smokin Hoggz out of Massachusetts. So it's nice to get a little bit of visual on the East Coast. I think the last two have been kind of more West Coast. So now let's mix it up a little bit. Yep. And let's bring in Bill Gillespie.
We call it Thermapen 1, the first true 1-second cooking thermometer. Its unprecedented speed means Thermapen 1's responsiveness approaches the speed of thought. Because when you're plating the perfect menu or smoking the perfect side of barbecue, you don't have time to think about how your instant read thermometer is accurate to 0.5 degrees in 1 second or less, or how rugged and waterproof it is, or how big, elegant and bright the backlit display is. You'll just know it works, because our perfection powers your perfection. Seek perfection with Thermapen 1.
All right, welcome to the show, Bill. How are you?
Hey, what's happening, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a whole lot. We're just out here on a Tuesday, gonna taste some rubs and give you our live feedback, and
awesome.
Hopefully nobody spits it out live.
I hope not. That'd be horrible.
I don't think they will, because if you're in production, it's definitely a good product. But
yeah,
let's just get into you a little bit. Where did this rub come from, and how did you get into making rubs?
So I'm sure, like everybody else, when they start in the world of competition, you want to use your own stuff. You try to develop all these rubs, and then you kind of slowly learn that, okay, well, they may not work. So you start using stuff that's already available until you learn how to really use them. And then kind of go back to what you were doing. So that's sort of like the evolution that I sort of followed. I was using my own, took a couple classes, started using that stuff, sort of started figuring things out. And then I went back to my recipes and just tweaked them and got them ready for competition.
Very nice. Derek, do you have any questions for Bill off the top of your head?
No, well, realistically, for people who don't know Bill or have exposure to him in the competition side, can you kind of touch on how long you've been cooking? If I remember correctly, I think you started in 2005. And I'm going to say the accolades, the resume that you have is very, very impressive. You can kind of touch on that.
Thank you.
And then we'll kind of dig back into the rubs.
Yeah. So I've been competing since 2005. So I'm in my 19th year. I'm a 4-time world champion. The 2011 Jack Daniels, the 2014 American Royal, 2017 Jack Daniels World Rib Champion, and my latest is 2023 Jack Daniels World Chicken Champion.
Wow. And how many times have you been to the Jack?
12. I think we're going on 12 years. 12
he
13
lost
years.
count. That's so great. So you definitely
It's
have the resume.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
quite an honor to be able to go back that many times. It's every year is special. You don't take it for granted because it could be the last time that you're ever there. So
very true.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, sounds like you've been there more than Christy Vanover's sister, and she's a big part of that.
Yeah.
All right, Bill. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the tasting here, but before we get into the tasting, we're just gonna add people to the stage and just let them introduce themselves and who they are, so you can get to know this panel as well. First, we're gonna bring in Marty Rich. How's it going, Marty? Go ahead and let people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Marty Rich, Mental Voodoo Barbecue. Started out judging competitions for SCA and KCBS, and kind of want to get the feel for how everything worked, and then it was jumping right in to start cooking. So I've been cooking ever since, and we just got hooked on the thrill of competition and the barbecue family in general, and so we just have been going steady from then on. We all started a little coffee company on the side, Voodoo Roasters Coffee, which we've done some sponsoring of the SCA in Memphis in May, things like that, as kind of the barbecue world's our niche. So we just love being here and love all the people we've met. It's been a great journey so far.
That's great. All right, next we're going to bring in Trevor Jensen. Trevor, let people know who you are, man.
Hey, I'm Trevor Jensen with La Luna Barbecue, technically also with Smoke Ain't No Joke Barbecue with Anthony over there. I've been in the KCBS world for quite a while, I guess since since 2014, 2015. Mostly doing competitions. I've done some judging, some other things like that, and just kind of hooked on barbecue, lots of backyard stuff. I do some YouTube stuff and different things like that. So just really love everything barbecue. I love helping people out with barbecue, have a lot of people over and teach them some different things or do some online things. I did catering for a long time as well, and that just kind of fizzled out because it made me hate barbecue for a little while there. But ultimately just love doing barbecue and competing and everything. So good times.
Sweet. All right. Next we have Rob. Rob, how's it going? Gotta let people know who you are.
I'm doing good. My name is Rob from Wisconsin, part of Kick-Ass Barbecue and the High Stakes Grilling team. Started out doing KCBS cooking, and from there moved on to SCA, and do a lot of my cooking up in the Midwest, like Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. However, this year I'm planning on getting more out East Coast, maybe West Coast. I know we have one out in Pennsylvania. Otherwise, we just travel around and compete, and we also do some catering stuff, some events. But like Trevor said, it does kind of get exhausting, and kind of want to get back to the competition part of it.
Very nice. All right, next we have Christy Vanover.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Christy Vanover from Girls Can Grill. I started Girls Can Grill in 2015 as an online platform to help teach people how to grill and barbecue, and I started competing in 2017. Been to the Jack twice to cook and several times to judge. Looks like this year I'll be judging again because no bung for me, but yeah, it's a good time. And I remember as soon as Bill got that call-in chicken in 2023 when I was there, I immediately went out and got the perfect storm that he uses on chicken. So I've tasted that one, but I'm excited to try the other two that I haven't tried yet. So yeah, and I'm the host of the Barbecue Tips podcast also.
Thank you. Then we have Michael. What's up, Mike? Uh-oh. You got to unmute yourself. There we go. I got you. You're good. Go ahead, fire away.
M&J's Barbecue, Kearns, Utah. Been competing in the SCA for 4 years, qualified for the World's Finals the last 3 years. Do a lot of teaching, education in the barbecue world, some catering. Actually, I got hooked at the Pitmaster Series at Lehi, Utah, and I actually met Anthony and and a few others that got it. And when we left that competition, my wife told me, "Hey, let's do this," and we went and bought a PK grill and been loving it ever since. So
very nice.
That's my story.
Cool. All right, that's awesome. So what we're gonna do is, there's a couple people chiming in. This is one person said, "I'd be satisfied with half of Bill's resume." And also another person says they love your stuff. So
awesome. Thank you.
Cool. So we're gonna get everybody muted up here. The table is yours to tell us a little bit about the all-purpose smoking applewood rub here. So Bill, tell us where this came about, and
okay.
And
so this was one of the first rubs that I came out with. I used it when I first started competing. At the time, I was going with no salt, and I was sort of adding the salt on my own. And I was using it pretty much on, I think, chicken and pork at the time. And then, like I said, I had gone on to other things, and then I came back to this, and I started using it more in grilling events, not so much barbecue. So it would be like on salmon, on sausage patty, fresh made potato chips, stuff like that. And we'd went to the American Royal 2014. We won the invitational, and then I got approached by Old World Spice if I had a rub that I'd be willing to bring to market, and this was the rub. I added the salt to it. I made a few tweaks to bring it to my taste, and the rest is history. I've been using it ever since.
Sweet. I'll give this a quick taste, but we're also gonna bring in John Mann just to introduce himself. I totally forgot there's another level, so let's bring him in, and then we'll give our feedback on this.
Yep.
John.
Hey guys, sorry I joined just a couple minutes late. Had a little bear issue out in the yard, had to get run off. Anyway, John Mann, AK Barbecue Man up here in Alaska. I guess I'm a rep for KCBS and SCA, and so I am more on the side of running the contest instead of cooking them, and have done my fair share of organizing too, not officially, but doing all the work behind the scenes. But anyway, so I did hear Christy saying she didn't get a bung. July 26th and 27th, Christy, our state champion, automatic jack draw. Just saying, come on up.
That is tempting. It's really hot in Vegas.
All right. Well, while John was talking there, Bill, I gave this rub a little bit of a taste. What I like about it is that it doesn't have a very sweet back end. So the reason why I like that is because it'd be perfect, to add that apple flavor to any of your pork products. And then when you go into add your sweet, you can use the honey and you can use the brown sugars and everything like that to make up that sweet. But the front end is actually going to put that nice color and flavor of that apple forward, and then you can make the sweetness on the back end.
Yeah, I use it on the top of my chicken and on my pork, and it's just the color it gives is great.
Yep. And Amanda over here to my left says that she really enjoys kind of a little bit of heat kick on the back end. I didn't quite get that, but then again, I did whiskey before we got started, so. Anybody else tune in? Let's just go through it, guys. Just jump on the mic and tell Bill what you think.
Oh, I can go. What? It was right off the bat, right when I took the seal off, the aroma that came off of it, a little bit of the smokiness, and then I wanted to say it was cumin right off the bat, and sure enough, it was kind of that subtle. This is me being Southern California. That carne asada flavor profile that was a little bit of sweet and fruitiness to it got me really excited. So it's well balanced, and that's the one thing. When you guys come out with a rub, so far everybody that we've dealt with who's made a rub or a sauce, it's well balanced. So no, I can understand everything that you just said when you're talking about the pork and the chicken. Again, I started gravitating more towards beef because of the flavor profile with the cumin in it. It almost reminded me like of a sweeter, smoky tahine. So I can definitely see this, rimming on a margarita or something like that. Even old fashioned, I can definitely see that. It's like
I've done that.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is. So yeah, I'm all in with the pina colada with the salted rim with the all-purpose. So
Perfect.
yeah, no, very good.
Yeah, I agree with the like Southern California Tex-Mex type deal with the cumin. And that has the spice that kind of hangs on for a minute. It's a good rub.
Thank you.
One of the first things I noticed on this too when I tasted was I was expecting to be sweeter because a lot of the rubs this color, they have a lot more sugar in them, so they're pretty sweet. This one wasn't. And so, like Derek said, it's pretty balanced. But the next thing that kind of hit me was this smoky onion type of a flavor, maybe a little bit of celery that I got out of that. And it was like really kind of a nice change from what everybody else is doing. And then that little tickle of the heat on the back end. So the flavor is fantastic. And I'm excited to actually use this on quite a few different things. It keeps racing through my head right now what I want to do with it. But it's got a really, like Derek said, balanced flavor. I love the smokiness, the little hits that come in just kind of in stages. Fantastic rub.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Like as soon as I took the lid off, same thing. It's just really, really pleasing to the nose, which is going to be beneficial when you cook also because, the judge is going to smell it before they taste it. And color, spot on, because that's going to make some really nice mahogany bark. I was expecting it to be sweeter also because I do see that sugar's the first ingredient, but that didn't hit me. I did taste like the earthiness that the cumin gives. I also a little bit of acidic. I don't know if there was citric acid or anything in there, but it just gives it that little bit of citrus hint to it. It almost to me is like the flavor of a barbecue chip that's like a high-end barbecue chip. Like it has that really traditional flavor profile, but like elevated. So yeah, I'm excited to try this one too.
Great, thank you.
Rob, any comments from you?
Oh, I
Go
thought
ahead.
the same thing. As soon as I opened it, I could smell it, and I kind of thought the same thing. It was going to be a little sweeter, but I didn't get that heat at first. But when I took that second pinch, then I could kind of get that little back end heat, which it's nice. It's not something that's overpowering, but I could still taste it a little bit of that heat. But it's very, very good rub.
Thank you.
Yeah, the more it kind of lingers in your mouth, it almost gives me that Chicago steakhouse with that celery salt in it.
Okay.
Well, I may try this on a soup competition.
Yeah.
There we go.
I would say just from reading the labels early on, I expected to be kind of more apple up front and kind of punch you in the mouth apple. And I was pleasantly happy that wasn't the case. It was, the applewood is kind of on the finish, for kind of using the whiskey term there, but more on the finish. I'm getting the apple. The smoke up front is great, and the similar comments with the cumin. It's got a lot of interesting flavors to it. I think the heat is perfect. Just enough to notice it, but you're not going to blow the judges out of the table. With too much heat there. So, a nice job. I like that one.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I think the celery seed carries the heat a little bit without the heat, so that's what celery seed does. It mimics heat without burning your tongue, which is actually great for competition because you think it's warm, but it's not blowing you out and causing any problems down the line with judging as well. So I think it's perfect. I like it a lot.
Thank you. It's definitely different, and it's different from your like normal barbecue flavors, and I think that's why it's working.
Yeah. And honestly, look at all these people chiming in, man. You're getting a lot of people, helping them a lot in the competition for sure, just with that base rub, so that's awesome. Well, let's jump into the rib rub. Let's talk a little bit about this, Bill.
All right. So the rib rub, I originally developed it for beef, and it was at the, let me see, I think it was at the Royal in 2017. I went with my normal program, and you know, we get decent results. And I had been messing around with this rub for a little while, so I said, okay, second day for the Royal, I said, I'm just gonna run this rub, and I'm just gonna add a little bit more brown sugar, maybe a little turbinado, whatever, just to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. And I think we scored maybe 3 or 4 points higher in ribs that second day. And I'm like, all right. So I get home, tweaked it a little bit more, and just until I got the flavor that I liked. Went to a couple more contests. I think maybe the second or third contest after that. Did ribs again, and we took a first place in ribs. And I'm like, okay, I think I got it. And we were, for, was it 2018, 2019, and I think 2020, we were top 5 in ribs for KCBS for Team of the Year, just with this rib rub.
Nice. First thing I noticed with it, I think it might be the sugars or, some hitty-mitty.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little clumpy coming out the bottle. You have to give it a little bit of shake. But
yeah,
as the first initial bite, I felt a lot of saltiness forward. But then the heat came in, and then after the heat, I finally started picking up on some other notes, the peppers and the sugars and everything like that. So
yep.
I can see it as a great base for ribs, as you let your ribs come up to room temperature, this can pull a lot of that moisture out to help with the tenderizing of the ribs, for sure.
It definitely does that. Yep.
Yeah. So I can see that happening very well with this. I do get some earthy tones off it. I'm not exactly sure what those are coming from. Maybe it's just a lot of paprika. I'm not sure, but
could be. Yeah.
Once again, but what I'm really finding along with your line is you don't sugar is one of your first ingredients, but you don't pick up on that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a back end or very light.
Mm-hmm.
I'll jump in. What I noticed on this first thing was actually the sugar, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't overly sweet or anything like that. So I actually liked it. The next hit that I got, which is very uncommon for me, is a garlic. So you could taste that garlic come through, and the chili pepper kind of backs it up and gives you that little bit of heat that goes along with all that. And then it wasn't overly salty either. So I really liked that. I think this is a good, well-balanced one as well.
Thank you.
But that's one thing I did like about it. I'm kind of a garlic freak. When I season things, I use it heavily. So it was very much appreciated when I tasted that, fairly forward facing. I liked it a lot.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and to add to Marty's, I'm definitely picking up that onion too with the garlic. That onion's just with the garlic's definitely coming out on that rub. It's kind of a Midwest type of rub that I've competed with, so it's good balance.
Great, thank you.
I'm almost tasting like a hint of fruitiness, and I'm not sure if there's anything like that in it. It's almost like apricot-y to me a little bit, which I like. And maybe it's the molasses and the brown sugar, because it's sweet, which, it's nice that you have a sweet rub in your profile. But it's not, like everybody says, it's not sweet to the point of like you're just pouring sugar on your barbecue. I think because you use brown sugar, the molasses tones in it are really nice. And one of the flavors that stood out to me that I loved is actually the black pepper in it. That I just got like a little, it's a larger chunk, like maybe 16 mesh or something that just kind of got in my tooth. And I liked that I got that steakiness, kind of beefiness out of it mixed with the sweetness. So I think that was a nice balance. Again, I don't know what the fruitiness is that I'm tasting, but it's enjoyable. I like it.
Yeah, I think it is from that brown sugar with the molasses.
Yeah.
So
Trevor, Red. Oh yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Sure. I was like, I was trying to see if she was going to hit on the same flavor that I kind of got on that sweetness, more of a earthy sweetness, not so much fruitful for me. It reminded me of tamarind right off the bat. is what I got. I'm gonna say, and I find this so funny too because I don't think I see it on the other ones. Use about 1 table. Okay, so you put measurements on your labels too. So like on your Applewood rub, use 1 tablespoon per pound of protein, and then this one as well, 2 tablespoons per rack of ribs. I went all out and I took a huge sample of this, and the flavor profile was everywhere. So it threw me off completely because I got that sweet from the brown sugar. I noticed, just like we had mentioned earlier, the granule of how clumpy it was starting to get. I was like, okay, so this is probably a brown sugar base. So I was expecting that sweet. I got hit with that sweet. Then I got this tamarind flavor. Then it was the onion, the garlic, and then the pepper or the chili hit in the back, and it lingered. And I think that's only primarily because I went so hard on this. I must have been super excited.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't go quite so hard as Derek did, but I think one of the words I'm hearing from a lot of you is what sticks in my mind, and it's balance. It's sweet, it's heat, and it's got a lot of savory flavor with it, with the garlic and the onion too. I'm just kind of blown away at how balanced it is. Obviously, with your records with it, we all know those very well. It's obviously definitely a winning rub, and I'm excited to try it. It's going to be.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to thaw some ribs out tonight, I think. Get on it tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say kind of that same thing. A lot of people have mentioned that sort of like dark, earthy kind of flavor, real umami, like a lot of that. I don't know. Again, the tamarind was what I was going to mention. I don't know if like one of the chili peppers that you used was like chili negro, because that does give like a tamarind kind of flavor as well. But yeah, I really like it. It's definitely going to be on the top of my list for sure to try, like in competition on ribs and some other things.
Great.
But very, very complex, a lot of flavor. It just really kind of hit me strong there. So just, yeah, definitely a lot of umami flavor in there. So really, really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I use ancho and I believe chipotle are the 2 chili powders.
Nice. Oh. Rob, any comments on this?
Mine's kind of similar to John, just how balanced it is. Even though it's got it kind of keeps wanting to make you go back in for a little bit more of another pinch, and just kind of, it's like, oh, I'm tasting this now, and I'm getting a little bit of the heat, a little bit of the sugar, a little bit of it almost like you're wondering what to take, like you're saying, the different peppers, the little heat. It's really nice, but with everything going on, it's still just a good, well-balanced rub that I really enjoy. And like everyone says, I'm definitely ready to try it on some ribs or anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Bill. Do you?
Yeah.
So you use these obviously before you throw them on the smoker. Do you use any of these as finishing rubs also?
I do. Yeah, I use so I use the all-purpose as a finishing rub on the backside of chicken. Nice. And also on my pork. The rib rub, obviously I use that as a finishing rub on my ribs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's just jump right into the third and final one for the evening.
Sure.
We are talking about the perfect storm of the buttery chipotle rub.
Nice.
Want to talk about this a little bit, Bill?
Yeah. So it's I wanted something kind of specifically for beef, and it's an SPG base with some butter and some chipotle and some other stuff in there, just to kind of give it a little bit of kind of a kicked up SPG. And I use this on steak, on my brisket. I do it on grilled vegetables like asparagus and like popcorn, just because of the buttery flavor in there. It's my newest rub, and it's been a pretty big hit for the people that have used it. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I really like it a lot.
Nice. First thing that had come to my head here is I want to try this on some tri-tip. something hot and fast, you know. It does
Yes.
have that SPG flavor. I feel like it's going to give it a nice color too on some beef, give it some of that little bit deeper mahogany color. It, like you said, it is very SPG like, but it does have a nice mellow back end. I don't pick up too much chipotle. I don't know if it's, you know, from the rib rub may have washed that out slightly, but it does have that butter. I can pick up on the butter flavor for sure on this one. Yeah, grilled cheese and breakfast burritos as well. That's what Amanda says for this one.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
I tell you what I love about this one is the varying texture of the spices. So it has the coarseness of an SPG, which is going to create that bark for you, but the buttery component of it is so fine and powdery that I can tell that that's just going to kind of like melt into the meat and really like flavor the meat nicely, but still the coarseness of the SPG is going to like hold up and give it that consistency. So the way that you mastered that is really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the chipotle there on it, unlike Anthony. So I definitely get that. It's really nice. Kind of reminds me of some of the other ones that are doing like the butter garlic, like the whiteout rubs and stuff like that a little bit, but with a nice kick to it and everything. So I feel like it's a nice change to some of those other ones, because all those other ones that are doing like the whiteout rubs and stuff, they're like exactly the same. But this one brings in like some sweetness and like a real kick of heat there. So it's really nice. I actually think this would be nice as like a finishing. Anthony, I just did a competition like 2 weeks ago, and we were looking for like a nice kick on our chicken because it was just like a little bland. This would have been like perfect for that. So
yeah,
for sure, it would have.
Kick on the bottom of the chicken or something like that would be nice. But yeah, definitely tri-tip was the first thing that came to my mind too when I was trying it too.
Awesome. Yeah, I do put a little bit on the top of my chicken right before it goes in the cooker, so kind of get that with the all-purpose rub.
Nice.
And you're running a little coarser grind on the mustard seed in this one as well. The mustard seed's popping out on me. I use that on bacona and stuff like that. So
nice.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to just use on the open fire rotisserie that I got running. Been playing a lot with. So. But I'm getting the mustard seed over the chili peppers.
Okay.
And my flavor preferences, you could never have too much butter. So when the butter hit, just as you said, popcorn, and I was like exactly what I was thinking about. Is I'm the guy that when at the movies at the popcorn, I make them do about every other level of it and put more and more and more oil, buttery oil on it. So I just kind of slobber all over it when I eat it. So that the buttery flavor, I think, is probably the top flavor that I'm getting out of it that I enjoyed. You know, the SPG, everybody loves that, obviously, but it's not just SPG garlic butter. You know, it's got some more that I'm seeing through all of your stuff. It's got interesting combinations, you know, that add to it. It's just not a. I think that's what Trevor I think was saying about the whiteout, or whoever was saying that about the whiteout was a lot of those are, you know, just SPG, and they throw some garlic and butter in there, and they're kind of boring, really, you know, to me. But this has got some character to it. I like it. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you.
And for me, it was the butter that popped out instantly. I really enjoyed that, and the garlic and stuff like that. But I think kind of the first thing that popped in my head was it actually wasn't beef, which I think because it's kind of an SPG, that's everybody kind of defaults to on beef. But I actually would probably put this on like eggs and things like that. I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So kind of get that butter, that little bit of a kind of a savory flavor along with the little kick from it too. I like it. I think this is a really good compliment to your line of what you have here. So,
thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Rob, Derek, comments?
My first thought was I want to try it on steak. I know that you guys said tri-tip to beef and stuff like that, but cooking so much steaks, I feel like there are certain smells to certain rubs or certain profiles that it brings me right back to like a steak, a competition steak, and the buttery smell, the pepper, the little bit of heat in the back. As soon as I opened this and I smelt it and I tasted it, first thing was I'm going to try this on a steak. I don't know exactly how I'm going to use it yet, but that's first thing that's sticking in my mind.
Awesome.
I kind of thought the same thing too, Bill. Have you got any response on people using an SCA and how they're doing it in SCA? Because I feel like that it would lay a nice color on it, but it's just, I almost feel like it's, I shouldn't say aggressive enough, but there's other rubs out there that are just really aggressive, but not heat oriented, you know, a lot more peppery, a lot more buttery. But how is it doing out there in the steak world?
So I know there's a couple of people, a husband and wife team, they use this as part of their finishing dust on their steak. And they're two of the you know, some of the best steak cookers in the Northeast. You know, that's, I'm trying to think of who else, you know, it's one of these rubs that it's fairly new. So it's just kind of getting out there, but, I was pretty psyched that they were using it, you know, in the caliber of cooks that they are in the SCA world, you know.
Is their names end in Brown by chance?
No, it's Scott McDonald. I don't know if you know Scott McDonald.
From Delaware. No,
okay. Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts.
Oh, Connecticut.
Okay.
Connecticut, Massachusetts. Yeah. And Lindsay McDonald.
Got it.
Yeah, they got engaged at our Vegas SCA.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, is that who they are?
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Have you ever
Derek,
done like
comment?
New Orleans shrimp? Oh, sorry, Derek.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
Ask real quick. I feel like I want to do like barbecue New Orleans style shrimp with this. I think that would be really
absolutely.
good. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like a crab boil or even, you know, shrimp and grits as well.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah. Tonight I'm gonna go back to my all-purpose rub, but we just did a caprese, you know, tomato, basil, mozzarella, and I put some of my all-purpose rub on the tomato, just a light sprinkle, and it just completely takes it to another level. It's really good.
Derek, what do you think?
How come I can't be normal like everybody else on this panel and just go strictly to proteins and barbecue? Automatically, I have to go some fat kid direction. I'm like, oh, I want to take an ice cream sandwich and roll the edges in this.
Wow.
But because of, and so that's the one thing. When I opened it up, took that first initial smell, the aromatics coming off of it, I was like, okay, like I'm getting the chili, I'm getting the pepper. Then you try it, and the first thing I get is overwhelmed with butter, and you can never have too much butter. So it was such a surprise. You get it. For me, it was a hint of the chipotle. It added a little bit of depth, and then ultimately too, like the next thing I started thinking about, I was like, I want candy pecans with this. Like smoke some pecans and then hit it with this, because I know that buttery flavor will hit through and then give it a nice little kick on the tail end. No, I really like this one, and I was a little bit more conservative this time. I didn't go as hard when I tried it, so I try to be patient. And the only downside I would see with this, and that's exactly what I saw with it, was I was like, I see a SPG, and then I see a finishing dust, a really, really fine finishing dust, and we put them together, perfect storm. And so I don't know if anybody was watching me, but I was pouring it, and I could see where the inconsistency with the pour is, obviously, because you have super fine and then you have coarse, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything, but it's, you know, I ain't gonna lie, especially when you're making content, like seeing that nice steady stream go through. But again, this is definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I throw it through a spice mill, a spice grinder, just to take some of that coarse
to balance it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a finishing dust. Yep.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. So I could totally see that. No, great product.
Thank you.
And then when you run it through that, you know, when you grind it up, are you letting out the aromatics of like the pepper more in there? What are you noticing after you grind it?
Yeah, it definitely intensifies. it certainly intensifies it a little bit more. And then I'll even go as far as if there's still some heavier chunks in there, like larger pieces, I'll even strain that out, run it through just like a fine mesh, just to get some of that more coarse pepper or whatever out of it. And then I'm just left with the dust.
Nice.
So, yep.
Well, sounds good. Well, thanks for running us through these. Before we get out of here, we're going to ask the panel what their favorite was. And go ahead, Derek, since you're right there. We'll just run from top to bottom, left to right.
Hold on. What are we doing?
Letting Bill know what your favorite is out of the three.
Okay. That's what I thought. All right. Sorry, I got distracted. I will definitely say my number one will be the all-purpose. All-purpose, well-balanced. Like I said, I feel like I didn't give the rib rub a fair shot because I went so hard on it because I think I was super excited from the all-purpose. But I'm ranking the all-purpose and then perfect storm, and then with rib rub. And I'm not gonna lie, because I know some teams out here who use the rib rub and they're not heavy-handed with it either. They use it as a nice dusting to get that color, to get that extra pow in there. Christy, I can tell you which teams are using it if you don't know, but
wow.
But that wasn't a stab at her. Just they were there at the last contest we were at. So
it maybe walked.
maybe.
An RGC maybe.
No. Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask. But no, that would be my ranking. Phenomenal products, Bill.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
Rob, what you thinking?
My favorite is the Perfect Storm. And like I said, just cooking steaks. If you are an SEA cook, try this because I'm going to run it through instead of like a coffee grinder, just like a little thumb grinder. Yep. And that's probably how I'm going to use it, like a little finishing dust. And yeah, so steak cooks. This one, I'm telling you, it's going to be good. And then my second one is the rib rub. Just like the sweet with the heat, and then the all-purpose, which, like I said, just because it's last doesn't mean it's not my favorite. It's
Absolutely
still super good rub, super balanced, and I enjoyed all of them. And another thing I loved that when I seen these online, even before this, was just the logo on the bottles and just how.
Thank you.
They always say if you see a bottle that you like or you like the logo on it, you're probably going to enjoy the rubs, and I really enjoyed all these. So I thank you very much.
I thank you. Appreciate it.
Trevor?
Yeah, my favorite was the rib rub. Let's see, which way do we go? That way. So, yeah, my favorite was the rib rub. I really like the complexity of it. I like those kind of dark earthy notes. So I liked it a lot. So just super complex to me. Like I said, I just like things that are kind of unique. I like to start with kind of a unique layer and everything on the bottom. And then I would say probably the smoking apple wood probably after that, because again there were some unique notes in there, and I did like what Anthony started off with on this one, where I feel like there's not a ton of like that sweetness and stuff to it, where you could start with a good layer on your competition stuff and then kind of build up from there. So those are my first two, but I mean the Perfect Storm is awesome too, so it's really hard to choose.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback.
Marty?
Yeah, for me, actually, I loved all three, but I got to go with the Perfect Storm. I don't know if the camera will catch it with my background, but I think the reason I chose this one as my favorite is because it's probably a little bit more unique in that butter front hit. I mean, I've had a lot of other garlic type rubs and things, and you taste the butter and the garlic and stuff like that, but this has more of a like in your face with the butter taste right out of the gate, and then you still get all the rest of those like the salt, the pepper, things like that, flavors that kind of come along with it. I think this one actually would be a really good all-purpose as well. And like I said, I think I could use this on a lot of different things. Definitely on some SCA cooks. I'm going to try this on one of my steaks in the next comp, but I think this is my favorite. And then honestly, it's a tough call between the rib rub and the apple, or the all-purpose. But I'd probably go with the rib rub on second, and then all-purpose next. But they're really super close for me.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing your results with it. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
Christy.
All right. I'm going to actually go with the all-purpose, I think, as my first, just because it's nice. It has all those flavors of barbecue, but like elevated, like I said earlier, and it's not super sweet. So I think that the versatility of this one is really nice. I think this week going to make some Chex Mix with it. I just want to taste wow with that. So going to try that. And then I think the rib rub is probably my second, because there's so many sugary rubs out there, but they just don't have the depth. They have the sugar, they have the salt, the pepper, and some chilies. But as soon as you said ancho, like I should have pinpointed that. Ancho is one of my favorites because it does offer that fruitiness. And so again, it's a nice sweet rub. I love a sweet rub, but I like a sweet rub that's complex. And that's what I get out of this. And the color, that it's really challenging to really get good color without kind of muting the flavor with like too much paprika. So you nailed that. And then the perfect storm, I just don't think I'd use it as often, but I agree that as a finishing rub on steak or again with some shrimp or seafood or even vegetables, I think would be really nice. But I think all purpose can be a go-to for me for lots of things.
Great. Thank you. I so appreciate the feedback. Yep.
You bet.
Mike.
So I think I'd go with the all-purpose first, and then the perfect storm. But one thing I was thinking about that perfect storm is I'm going to do some chocolate ganache with it to give it that Mexican flavor. And I'll let you guys know how that turns out, just to be different.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear about that.
And then the rib rub. But I'm with them too. I'm definitely gonna. I think I'll play around in my next SCA and just kind of enjoying the ancillary side of it. So I'm doing a little more experimenting, and so it's going to be a fun. And I appreciate Anthony putting this group together because it's definitely opening my eyes. This is rubs I've never even heard of, and bringing it to the Midwest. So
awesome.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Man, we got Chris Webb in here trying to snipe some secrets, man. The dude doesn't need any more help.
Right? No kidding.
John, go ahead and let them know what your favorite is.
All right. First of all, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm glad happy to open that package and see. Because if you didn't know, we don't know what we're getting until it shows up. So it's kind of a fun way of doing it. Mike's talking about not being able to get it. Move up to Alaska and you'll figure out what not being able to get stuff's like. So as far as I know, it's not available up here yet. So
not yet. Yep.
I would. I'm going to reach out to you this week later. About some of that, but anyway, I would say I think just because it's piqued my interest the most is the perfect storm, and
awesome.
I was thinking steak too, but then Christy chimed in there with some surf and turf ideas there, so I think I'm going to go get some shrimp and do a little surf and turf later this week maybe, and try that on it. Rib rub is fantastic as well. I got to be a little bit careful being diabetic to jump in too heavy with some of that, but it that's one thing. I just take a little more insulin and dive into that sweet ribs.
Yes, right.
But anyway, I think all of them were extremely well balanced, well thought out, and I could tell the the effort behind putting them all together. It just wasn't throwing some stuff in a bottle and a cool logo on there. So kudos to that. Thanks again for letting us try some of this stuff out.
Oh, thank you guys. I mean, this has been awesome. I'm just glad you all liked it. I was nervous like leading up to it. I'm like, man, I hope that they don't kill me on all this stuff. But
no. And then I'm going to finish it out. The perfect storm is mine and Amanda's favorite. Bill, I think you just need to say the perfect storm all-purpose rub on this too, because this is literally from like what Derek said to ice cream to what Christy said, seafood, steak, tri-tip. I think this is your all-purpose here more than anything, because this is this is awesome. I can use this from, you know, from breakfast all the way to dinner and dessert even. So I did actually kind of with the Mexican dish that kind of what Michael is going towards as well too, is maybe, you know, even in a mole. I think that'd be pretty dang good as well too. So you can even move it over into like the more of the, you know, enchilada moles and stuff like that too. So I think it's a good all around balance. I do like the apple. I am actually going to try this on some pork. Right out the bottle, it's probably not like my all-time favorite pork rub, but I think once you put it on some product, you can actually let those salt break down and sugars and break down, and I think it will be fantastic because as this whole panel knows, we've tried rubs that we didn't like right out the bottle, but then they're now our favorite on whatever we cook. And sometimes you get a bottle that tastes really good, but it doesn't taste great on your product. And I think this is one in my book that it's not my favorite coming out the bottle, but I think it's going to be a go-to on most of my briskets and ribs for sure. And then the rib rub, I think that's a great finisher as well. Like kind of like what Trevor said, it'd be great to, you know, just as a small layer to help finish as well too. So all great products, all competition grade, obviously, because people are chiming in on how much they've used your product and they've had their names called and was able to walk across those stages, you know. So and then and before we go, Chris Webb wants to put a plug out there just because he's a cool dude. He wants to plug Christy Vanover's class at Proud Souls Barbecue and Provisions, and then you'll be there as well, apparently. So
yeah, I'll be down in the Orlando store Labor Day weekend doing a chicken and rib class.
There we go. So Chris, there you go. I'll send you a bill for that promotion later. But yeah, Bill, thank you so much for you know, jumping on here, and Derek, thank you for getting that lined up for us, because I think this was
you guys, Derek especially.
This is probably our first actual, you know, competition grade style rub review that we've done, and I feel like it's definitely up to the competition status. Everybody here has competed on a professional level, and I think we all kind of agree that it could definitely be added to our arsenal somewhere to help our scores improve.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Well, sounds good. Once again, yeah, thanks for joining. Did you want to let people know where to find your products, and if you have any social media, go ahead and give those a shout out?
So we're on, you know, Facebook, Smokin Hoggz BBQ, Instagram, Smokin Hoggz BBQ, Twitter, now X is again Smokin Hoggz BBQ. We have a YouTube channel. You can get the products on my website, www.smokinhoggz.com. Most all of the barbecue supply store carries my product. Barbecue Spot, it's on Amazon. So it's
Proud Souls.
You can just, you know, throw it in the Google search and it'll pop up. So yeah.
Well, sounds good. And everybody make sure that you head over and support Bill and let him know as well as you try these products. As the group will as well. But if you go out there and buy this product and you heard it from the Pitmasters podcast, let him know. Say, hey, I watched the video. I really enjoyed this. And go ahead and give him some feedback as well, because every bit of feedback helps him improve his next line that he might be coming up with. So
absolutely.
All right, we'll get out of here. We'll go enjoy our evening. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll have to get together next time if you get some more rubs down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, guys and girls. It's been a great opportunity. So really appreciate it, and hope you guys all have a great 4th of July.
Thank
you as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Bill. Yep.
All right.
Thanks,
Bill.
All right, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Everybody take care.
All right. See you.